Hi friends, doing some painting in the studio downstairs. As you can see, the paintings are lined up along the walls, and we've got some canvas here to work. And continuing from last time, canvas that I've painted black and just have some really interesting texture from the brush. And I'm thinking about adding some color and red, and my debate is to go for a more orange red or a more magenta, like purpley red. And my thoughts initially were, when I was thinking about this painting, were to go for more of an orange red or a true red. But just in terms of what's here in the studio now, I'm thinking about doing the magenta red just because it's showing up really nicely. So I'll show you the difference here between the orange red and the more slippery kind of magenta or crimson. So you can see they show up differently in the light. And I think I'm going to have to add something to this crimson. As you can see, it looks really thin to give it more surface and more poignancy. So I'm just seeing what's available in terms of mediums again, because it's really nice to add some texture. And this guy's an interesting one. You can see there's some green paint in there. And that's garnet gel. So it's actually ground garnet. And let's use some of that. I think I can avoid the green in there. Someone was just hasty to take it out and didn't clean their tools or put in a clean tool each time. So now I'm just mixing with that to get a good product. That's what it's coming to look like, coming into existence to be. And working it down here where you can't see, but have patience, I'll show it to you in a second. There we go. So that's giving it a bit more product. And I want more, so I'm going to take a clean tool, a semi-clean tool, at least it doesn't have any paint on it, and scrape out some more out of this container so I can do a big swath of color with it. I'm getting a bit of the green in there, but that's okay. Better to use it than not. And I think the amount of paint that we have here is going to have to work on that. So just shifting over and getting some more room here on the plexiglass. Sorry for the wait. I know it's incredibly exciting when you're mixing paints to actually see the color, but I haven't figured out how to use the camera to get both angles without somebody holding the camera. These are quarantine concerns. Okay, so this is mixing up really nice with the garnet, which I think is going to give it some shimmer. And and hold the light in a really nice way also. I was thinking about this painting before working on it, and I was thinking about doing more matte or flat colors in mediums, and now it's come to working in a way that is a little bit more shimmery and a little bit more holding, reacting to the light and holding the light in a different way. So let's see. Here's the canvas. And what I think I'm going to do is put it down here so you can see a little bit of it. You won't see all of it, but I'll share with you as I go. And this is what I wanted to do, a swath of color at the top. There we have it. Just a band of kind of crooked color at the top. And now you can see how it's working with the activity in the lower part of the canvas with the brush strokes there. And over here, there's like something that suggests a line. So I'm thinking to add another color, but let's use up some more of this red first, which is fun. And just lifting right off of the canvas, basically. It's like giving a good height and a dimension and a little bit more interest there. And that red really tangs and tings and sings, as someone I know would say. Just finishing off my edges there. So if it's in a light box, it's gonna, or a shadow box, pardon me, it's gonna show up good. And now I'm just gonna grab my gray, if I can find one, or make one quickly. Use some ultramarine blue. Shake it up. Oh, that's really runny. Okay. Just looking for a nice dark blue that's got some good body to it. Ultramarine blue we have here in a tube, and it's got some good body. So I'm going to put that down. And I'm just going to move the canvas over to the other side so I can get at the paint here. And That is dried paint, my friends. When you're working in somebody else's studio, sometimes you run across these things, and that is totally dried in there. Unusable. Gonna use some iron oxide black. And all of my palette knives are painted right now, so I'm gonna have to wipe something off so I can get some gray out, black out without messing it up too much with another color. There we go. Now all we need is a bit of white. Okay, that's getting dried on there too, so just wipe off this palette knife again. And see if we can scrape out some of the white on the bottom. Yep. It's got some great body, even though it's getting dried down there. Just gonna add some good good body and good texture to the paint. So there we go. Bit of white. And just to show you my plexiglass palette right now. So there we go. We've got the red with the garnet gel. And up here is where I'm mixing the gray with the black and the blue and the white. I like adding a little bit more color to my combinations to get a result that is really lively and luscious and good. And working that way is highly suggested, just to be able to use your colors. Don't just take one color out of the pot and use it, but to actually mix your colors. And I'm using up the white here as much as possible. Working quietly now, but still just concentrating on getting the color that I want. And I'm thinking I'm going to be using up most of this white, so I'm just going to use a brush to get the bottom wiped out of this old pot of paint. There is a couple old pots of paints that are just ready to be used up, so may as well do that and have some fun with it instead of letting them sit and get dry. So that's an empty pot of paint now. getting a better and better color. It's looking like a real steely gray. Oops. Somebody dropped something upstairs. This is the basement experience. Okay. So there's my palette now. And you can see it gets lighter as it goes this way. And I'm just mixing the colors to get to where I want to go. And I think what I'll do is put some painter's tape on my my canvas. If I can find it. There we go. Painter's tape just holds the paint in and creates lines that are really great. So there we go. Placing it on the canvas. And I think I'm going to use the edge and just go right over the edge in some places and give it a little bit of dynamic that way. So there you go. I put some painter's tape on the canvas and established a line that goes a little bit away from the edge and then goes off onto the edge. Now I'm doing these paintings and working down in the studio in honor of my dad, who is currently dying from cancer. And he's home, but he can't get into the studio. So he hasn't been able to paint for months. And I wanted to do some paintings that are more in his style so he'd appreciate it, and also yeah, just show him how much I love him by doing something for him in his space. Now I'm using a palette knife and I'm just putting the paint on the canvas with the palette knife and easing it down over the painter's tape, which I will remove when it's dry. And I'm getting my edges done and getting a good amount of the paint on, which is quite thick actually. And that's consistency is because of the white and how dry it was. So on my list for paints, I'm going to have to buy some white paint and get that going. There we go. So this is what it's looking like at this phase with the gray, which is quite light, and going around the edge, and the painter's tape going around the edge there. and with the red streak at the red band at the top. And you can see I didn't go all the way from the edge. I left some space here, and that was just responding to the shape of this brush stroke that I could see. Okay, so now I'm going to put that back here and let it dry, because that paint is quite thick. And then we're going to go back to this painting. And think about it a little bit. My first thought is I could leave it the way it is. My second thought is that I feel uncomfortable leaving just white gessoed spaces, and that I want to put some color here. And of course yellow is one of my go-tos with green and blue. I love green, blue, and yellow. But yeah, I think I'm going to look at this a little bit longer and leave it as it is to think about it. And we'll move on in a different direction. And now this is one of my dad's canvases that has been painted over, and you can see there's still a level of visual effect from the painting underneath when you light it up. And what I'm thinking is just to do a couple of streaks of color, partly to use up the paint that I've got out, but also partly just to start working the canvas. So first of all, I'm gonna stir up some of this gray, and I'm gonna add a little bit of medium to it. This is not matte medium, this is satin finish medium. But I'm gonna add a little bit of that to make the gray go a little further, so I could actually get it on the canvas with a little bit more enjoyment. When it's dry and thick, it just doesn't move as nice on the canvas, so it's nice to have paint that actually moves around in a nice way. And I'm just getting that integrated with the medium now. And it's pretty lumpy, but I think it's going to be okay on this canvas. And we'll get our colors going here with a little bit of red just in this area. And I'm using just a blobby look, a blobby shape to start with. and just exploring the texture and the color here. Now I think when Dad was painting over this painting, he was thinking about probably saving some cash and also getting rid of something that he may not have liked as much in terms of one of his paintings. Okay. And now I'm gonna do this with a brush and see how goopy that is. See how much texture there is in that? And I'm gonna just spread it around a bit. Yeah. It made kind of a interesting shape with the gray. Just kind of a stick looking shape, but I wanted to get that paint used up and experience it on the canvas in a different way by using the brush to spread it out, which is really fun. It's nice and smooth, and it's got blobs of texture here and there. So there you go. Some action, and you can see the blobs of paint there, and up here the texture in the red. Now I'm just scraping off some of the last bits of that gray from the brush before I put the brush in water so it doesn't get ruined. One of the tricks with acrylic paint is that you use the mediums to extend the paint, but you get your brushes cleaned off and in water so that they don't get wrecked, because acrylic paint can dry on the brushes and really destroy them. So I'm just putting a blob of paint on and smoothing it down. And I like to use my paint as much as possible instead of leaving leftover paint on my palette. So as you can see, I've done due diligence here on my palette, and I've scraped off most of that red and got the gray used up also. So sometimes it takes starting a new painting to actually get the paint used up. But there we go. So I think that's a resting point for today, and we'll let these paintings dry and come back and do more process painting. And I hope you enjoy watching. It's fun for me to do this and share some of my art with my friends and honor my dad and just be here in the art studio in the basement. So thanks, and see you soon.